No.
Do you have my Android phone? You turn on the...
It's on.
Rabiu mic.
Rabiu's mic. There is Abi there. Yes,
Abe is there. Do we have under mic?
You didn't get it.
Remind me. So believe it or not, this is where I come.
We know. We can already tell.
you work as what?
The
A native doctor.
The question is, what do you do? Yeah.
People clean this.
It's not a question of.
They're so impatient, they remove teeth and so on.
Sorry?
And they're not in the construction stage.
So hold on. So are we ready?
Are we ready?
Let me just start.
So, Rayon.
Oh, thank you.
We're ready.
You ready? Okay. Morning, sir.
Excellency. His Excellency.
Yeah,
Excellency.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Jim Daddy.
Welcome.
You guys take time to play table tennis before. If I had time, I would have just flashed you one second.
Alright guys, welcome to today's live broadcast of the second day in Kano. Omoyele Sowore and Dr. Rabiu Ahmed Rufai meeting with the medical community here in Kano.
Welcome to Canada.
Thanks for bringing us.
It's a pleasure.
Room is filled with professionals, doctors.
Not take much of their time. They have very busy schedule actually.
So because of your schedule, I think you can do the introduction since you are the one that is privileged. Yeah. Just get done.
I'm sure I'm audible. I have to get a mic and shout louder.
Did you bring a mic?
We have a phone.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Rabiu Ahmed Rufai. I am a consultant, still public health physician, and I'm happy to be here. This is a big welcome, into my alma mater twice. First of all, I did my first degree and undergraduate degree here, and then I also qualified as a consultant in this. That I kept translating. I was looking for housing lexicographers even to help me do that. Thank you very much. And this is a very important session for African Action Congress, because other parties will be very rude not to speak to these cultivated intellectuals. Yes. These are the people that denounce actually lucrative offers outside Nigeria to practice their medical skills. They are here with us. Recently, I saw the news being carried. A doctor at UBTH actually died after performing several, operations in the theater. And here too, we lost several colleagues because of exhaustion and hard work and dedication. And I always speak with these doctors each time. They say, well, we see that what makes people healthy is even out of our own hands. Even the healthcare budget and policies are being done from some people outside the health sector. And that's why they've been very, very keen, they've been very so we want to have a more robust medical practice and medical services. Very soon I'll be talking to doctors about universal health coverage in my state, Jigawa, because our insurance is just a beast. We don't have a very good minister. I call him Minister of Diseases actually, not Minister of Health, because diseases are happy, as I keep alluding to this. So we are here, we are very happy to see this large crowd coming to grace us despite their tight schedule. Some of them actually finished surgery maybe early this morning. Yeah. What they sign up to the Hippocratic oath to treat patients, to help all, and then to comfort all the families, and that's what they've been doing. Some of them actually in their third decade actually doing this very important work, and with them we really salvage Nigeria from the doldrum and from the quagmire it has been into. Some of them are actually even psychiatrists, so some of our drug victims actually they end up on their wards.
Very delighted to be in your midst. I'm excited. I am not a consultant, but I'm aspiring to be a consultant so that we can treat all the medical and psychiatric healthcare issues of our leaders in this country. Our leaders are sick. A lot of them are physically sick. A lot of them are mentally sick. A lot of them are psychologically weakened. And we have a duty to save this country by first producing leaders who are healthy. Because as they say in the medical world, that a healthy mind will propel a healthy society and, of course, body. And what is also very important in this gathering today is that we have two categories of people in Nigeria. As I often say, doing unimaginable work to keep people happy, safe, and healthy. And at the same time, you are responsible, unfortunately, to people who hardly work. We're talking about our politicians. Most of them, as we speak now, are having fun. Just a weekend. They are moving from one place to the other, attending parties, enjoying the money that they've looted from our Commonwealth. But you are here working and busting your behind, as I say. But unfortunately, we get consistently governed by people who don't know what we do, who don't even understand us, who don't believe in what we believe in. And we are, as young people and as a political movement, have decided that we want to marry responsibility with political consciousness. And it's the reason we started the movement about 8 months ago, known as the Take It Back movement, that metamorphosed into a political party known as the African Action Congress. And what a fantastic place to be other than Kano, which is the home of Aminu Kano, the man who introduced the politics of Talakawas. And till today in Kano, Kano is known as a place where if you have an idea that is fantastic, it doesn't need to be popular for it to be respectable or respected. And that is what we saw yesterday when we were traveling through the streets of Kano. We were told before we came to Kano that if we came to Kano, we came outside, people will eat us raw because this is Buhari's country, as it claimed. But what we saw yesterday, we even barely saw Buhari's posters. We barely saw Atiku's posters. We saw people who came out and people. All of them in unison accepted us, they welcomed us without discrimination, and we're very excited about that. It is just to send a strong message that the people of Nigeria are sick and tired of people who create division on the basis of ethnicity and religion, because that's how they furnish and take care of their own political careers, is to create division, is to create confusion, and to use whatever means they can to divide people. But at the end of the day, when you see patients in the hospital, you know, diseases don't ask whether you are Hausa, Yoruba, or Igbo before it descends. Hunger don't know the difference between a Hausa man, an Igbo man, or a Yoruba man. And what we have seen in this part of the country, because this is where I did my youth service, in fact, the poverty rate here is worse than anywhere else in Nigeria. And that is my experience traveling around here, doing my youth corps service here. And we want to make sure that poverty is not genetic to the north, that the northern part of the country, as the rest of the world, can actually be a place of happiness, a place of safety, a place of convenience and comfort for the people of the north, or Nigerians as a whole. And that is why we decided that we will make Kano home of not only our physical selves, but our ideological convictions. And the reason we chose Kano after Lagos to start our political campaign that started a few days ago. And we are happy to announce to you that the acceptance of our political conviction, our ideology, of our political philosophy and messaging is widespread across Nigeria. If anybody was not convinced about it, they saw it yesterday, that we are the only people who can freely move around in the city like Kano. Even when we were approached by some guys who were demanding for money, the moment they explained to them who we were, they just said, Kowa, what's that Kowa thing they said? Kowa Sekai. Kowa Yabi. Yes.
Everybody just follow.
Yes. Kowa Yabi. They kept saying Kowa Yabi. The moment you explained who we are to them, they said Kowa Yabi. And we traversed this city yesterday with no single incident of violence or harassment or intimidation by anyone. It was total acceptance. And this message is important for those who are out there who are still skeptical or doubtful or cynical about the viability of changing this country. We can change this country, and this country is ready for the revolutionary change that we have been looking for, and we'll bring that about. Because when we use the word change, we have to be careful. It was a dubious word 4 years ago that was used to con our people into believing that there's a new political party in town that you guys know as the APC. They came with the word change. It turned out to be chicken change. And people don't want to hear the word change now. On the internet, particularly Facebook, I see it. When they show the face of somebody who has just been beaten up, they'll say, well, he just said, say Buhari. So they pounced on him. So that's how people demonstrate through images how much there's total rejection across the board of the old politics of division, of poverty and deception in the country. So as I'm here today, I do not wish to continue talking. I want to exchange ideas with you all. We are not here to come and tell you what will happen in Nigeria and of the future. We are here to carry you along and invite you to help us walk into Nigeria of the future, so that you don't have to travel out of this country to practice your profession. In fact, the people who ran away or who have gone, I don't want to use the word who ran away, because people left not out of their own volition, because out of necessity. Doctors, we want all of them to come back so that no Nigerian will have to go to India to treat malaria again, or treat typhoid, or treat, several of the things that you take for granted. My mom had, and I'm just using this to praise you guys, my mom had cataracts in her eyes. And I took her to the Lagos Eye Hospital, and somebody there told my mom, "Why are you coming to Lagos Eye Hospital? Kano Teaching Hospital has the best eye doctors. They will close your eyes and remove your cataract." We still haven't removed my mom's eye cataract, so she'll be on her way here. So after we finish this conversation, we need a doctor to help us remove her eye. But most importantly, you need to remove the cataracts of the eyes of our people who are still hoping that they can see the future through the cataracted eyes of politics of 5,000 naira or 2,000 naira. We need to remove the eye cataracts off a lot. A lot of people have cataracts in their eyes, but not the physical one, but the political cataract. So we want to all work together. I want you to give us your ideas. Let's exchange ideas, ask questions about what you want us to do or what we can do. Luckily enough, we have a public health professional as a vice presidential candidate. I don't know his real name. I only know his alias name, Bonacera. So, his real name is Dr. Rabiu Rufai. So that people don't say that Sowore doesn't know the name. I'm not like Baba. So, please, we're happy that you're here. Thanks for taking our time to interact with us. We really appreciate this. And we will be back again soon. We'll be back in 2 different capacities. We'd love to come back to Kano to keep campaigning. But most importantly, both as President and Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria after February 16, 2020. So I'll say finally, what we tell people is with these 2 guys, it's you buy one, you get 2 free. Yes. Yes, the safe hand. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Would there be some questions? Somebody's raising their hand.
Good morning, Mr. President and Vice President. My name is Dr. Omoyele. I'm a senior resident in the Department of Dental Surgery. I've been following you and I've been hearing about your ideas from my boss, your Chief of Staff. So I have 2 questions. One for you, Mr. President, and the other is for the Vice President. And then for the Vice President, I will be biased.
Medical.
Yeah, medical. So I will start with the Vice President. The medical world, the dental surgery or dental treatment, dental care is very expensive. So in the situation whereby you are the Vice President from 2019, inshallah, what will you do to incorporate all of dental care into the National Health Insurance Scheme? And how will it cover, or how will you integrate it into the primary health care? Also the preventive aspects. The second question goes to Mr. President. I happen to be from the Northeast. I was born here in Kano. I grew up in Borno. During the peak of insurgency from 2009 to 2015, I was there completely as a medical officer, as the head of dental department of the State Specialist Hospital, Damatru. One of the reasons why we joined you to change the previous administration was purposely insecurity. Yesterday, they shared some disturbing videos about the technically defeated Boko Haram overrunning military bases, killing a Lieutenant Colonel, the CO of that base, 157 Battalion, I think in Ganzai or something. Yeah. So, as the President and the Commander-in-Chief, by the time you assume office, how different, how will you going to tackle this? Because we have been seeing checkpoints, bases, always repelling attack. Almost always. We have successfully repelled. And we are told that the best way to defend is to attack. So as the Commander-in-Chief, how are you going to tackle this insecurity once and for all? And then we will move the next thing that is disturbing us, because we cannot progress as people if we don't secure life and property, we don't secure our borders. Thank you very much.
And I'm going to use both my left and right hemispheres actually to answer a medical question. Well, you will remember back in the primary healthcare days, I think this is, the 50th anniversary, 40th anniversary of primary healthcare, 40th to be specific. Now more than ever came 10 years earlier, where mental health, dental health is a core component of what primary healthcare activities should be. But you realize that even in the more established, mature health system like the NHS of England, the dental services is outside some of the coverage of the NHS service, so as the ophthalmology services and so on. And I understand that even today, Britain is looking for over 40,000 nurses, even before the final Brexit deal come to, fruition and so on. So the whole world is scarce of what health manpower is a big issue. And you will agree with me that there are fewer dental surgeons. We just had our College of Dental Surgery in Kano, despite that our medical school has been in existence for quite a while. So it's in our dream actually to use big telescopic eyes that Shiore and I have actually to clone more dental surgeons and more dental therapists across Nigeria, and not to have this skewed distribution. They should all be at the primary levels actually depending on the case, and then we go up into secondary and tertiary, and it's also in our dream to have a very 21st century kind of healthcare service where some centers are going to be even supra-tertiary in nature, so that you can train people and then have them actually distributed across the country. So a key to this is actually to hold primary health care very dear to our hearts, and of course to see that dental health services are being given the due attention. Hardly people have their teeth examined, which should be at least annually, you understand? So that you prevent dental caries, you can prevent other conditions that affect the mouth. Do you get what I'm saying? And then we are going to collaborate, because it's, you know it from training, it's quite multidisciplinary in nature, because some of it is a bit of surgical, but some of it is public health, because you need some public health knowledge and public health actions like health promotion and health education to achieve much. I understand it's an area that did not receive the right attention from previous government, so thankfully I'm one that has some eye into it. We will spread it all across the country. Even as I speak to you now, there are fewer College of Dentistries across our medical schools, you understand? From here, you have to go far Maiduguri. It would be important, as there's a medical school now coming up in Dusi actually to start thinking about faculty of dentistry. Thankfully now the number is increasing, but it's not in keeping with the demands that we need. From here to Sokoto is stretch of land that there are no dental schools. So you're speaking to somebody that actually is passionate about public health, and what you're saying can be or should be tackled first by public health actions, rather than the more tertiary stuff that we want to also think about. Shiore and I always talk about how we can put so much technology into it. At a point in time, I was putting hands into clinical decision support system, into developing algorithms to help doctors, so that we don't rely only on our cognitive abilities to solve human diseases, but we can also use the technology to leverage our clinical governance. So your question is very apt, and this is how we go about. I hope you are convinced, not confused.
Yes, I just want to answer the question related to.
Okay, before you answer. I, as one of the senior people gathering here, one of the people behind this gathering, I would like to actually seize this opportunity to welcome you.
Thank you.
And your team to Kano and to Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital, and to the Medical and Dental Consultants Association's lounge within Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital. Together with us are the Association of Resident Doctors that are also part of us. I believe there is some element of hierarchy in whatever we do. In our midst here, we have the two former presidents of the Medical and Dental Nigerian Medical Association, Kano State Branch, and the past two chairmen of the Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, Kano State Branch also, in person of Dr. Rabiu Ibrahim and Professor Muhammad. I believe we probably should give them an opportunity before you give us a red card to go, or a yellow card. I think Dr. Rabiu and Dr. Mohammed might be given some minutes to say a word or two before our questions and answer sessions, as we are within their territory. Yes. Thank you very much for allowing that. Thank you.
Well, I'm the younger chairman in every respect. I can't afford to sit down when my president is sitting down. Your Excellencies, you have done an honor. You've given us an honor on maybe 2-3 situations which we must show our appreciation. One, you have done an honor to medical profession, which I think is the first time we are witnessing that, to have a member contesting and inshallah going to be the number 2 citizen of this country. So it's an honor not just to us here in Kano, it is an honor to the medical profession. Secondly, it is also an honor to deem it fit to visit a crop of intellectuals who may have a say, but may not two excellencies. Come February 16th, our level have changed. This is not the type of change you were talking about. Yes. So, sir, we are going to contribute intellectually and in many other ways to your campaign, and also to shape your administration when you come February 2019. We are going to form a think tank where we are going to advise, where we are going to maybe draw a pathway so that healthcare in particular in this country will be improved and be taken to the highest level, not just the next level. Secondly, we are urging you, sir, there is no healthcare system in the whole world that has developed fully without private medical practice transferring to the level of an international standard. There must be a deliberate effort from any good government to see that it has delivered both public and private world-class healthcare services in each of the countries. All the places where people are going for medical tourism are going to those places to attend hospitals that are packaged, assisted by the government, deliberate government policies, that you may not even find the manpower that we have here. To tell you the truth, I have been practicing as a specialist for close to 15 years, but virtually there is no significant improvement in taking my practice to a level that I wish. So this is one of the reasons why people are not satisfied. It's not even monetary. Everybody wants to help his own kins and kins. But if you are not satisfied with the level of service you offer, people will start thinking elsewhere. It is mainly technology driven. We want your government to critically look at healthcare as a major source of internally generated revenue in the country than even oil. Most places now, healthcare provide their IGR more than any other commodity that they have or they are blessed with. You can only do that if you deliberately target the public hospitals by creating a special fund, like what I call tertiary health institution trust fund, that can help develop the facility, train our members. Whoever you see training in Nigeria now is only doing it out of his sweat. There is no deliberate effort to fund training. So if we can have that, you will develop the public health care to a special level that it will serve the people. And it must also target the private healthcare facilities by deliberately creating a zero-level financing so that we can develop our private services to the world-class level, where people will now be coming. We will now turn the tide so that instead of medical tourism, we will now be the tourism hub of healthcare in Nigeria. We can do that by so many ways. I don't want to bother you too much, but we will package whatever ideas that we have through one of our own so that it will reach you. We thank you for this honor. We appreciate your coming, and we will support you. I will add another Hausa vocabulary. Muma Mumbi. We too have followed.
Mr. President and his Vice President in waiting, it's a great honor and privilege to stand before my colleagues and you to address you, but I will try and be brief because of time. I will not dwell much on health issues because I have a firm belief that I have nothing to add with your number two as an international health policy expert of repute. So I'm sure he has all that it takes, better than my humble self, to advise you on health policy issues. As you are number two, we want to recall, we share similar ideologies, the NEPO ideologies, the concern for the downtrodden. Currently, as things are in Nigeria, I have a firm belief that you would agree with me that the way government is being run will not take us anywhere because it is far to the exclusive preserve of the elites and to the denigration of the downtrodden. By far, in the whole of the globe, the way our system of government governance is run is the most expensive. I stand to be corrected. And we cannot achieve much if this trend continues to be. And I hope, I don't want to give you much details about that. It is my hope that when you assume office, that must be changed to the benefit of the majority of the populace. Because what we have in our government treasury is for all, not for only those few. And all the adequate policies and legislations that should reverse such trend should and must be put in place. That is the only way that many indices, including other social indices, could be changed for a better for our Nigerian system. I have not much to add, but to wish us, the movement of the African Action Congress, successes, not only in this forthcoming February 2019 election, because it's a continuous struggle.
Yes.
We must continue to strive. Right from this and onwards, the struggle must continue. We cannot afford to let Nigeria go down into history.
Yeah.
The history must be rewritten in the right way. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Yes, Chairman, thank you so much. I want to say quickly that when we started out to run, we did a survey of Nigerians all over the world and asked what is their main priority. It turns out to be health. Most Nigerians, about 70% of the respondents said they want improvement in healthcare to them. A lot of people can't find doctors whenever they want. And I want to also add to what the VP just said about how we intend to solve some of this problem, that our solution is a universal healthcare policy that will make it possible for both the downtrodden and the rich to have access to healthcare in this country, in not only in the areas that we're used to, but other areas, like for dental healthcare, for people to see mental health professionals. In fact, we're talking about dentistry, but mental health area is one big area that nobody has ever touched at all. A lot of people have a lot of issues in this country. And like somebody said, politically, a lot of people they're undergoing depression right now. And a lot of others are also having anxiety about the future. These are serious political health, mental health issues. In other places, people attend to them. Pressure, which most people have never done. Behind your back, I make fun of doctors in Nigeria that you only have 2 diagnoses when you come and see you. It's either malaria, and then after 3 days you upgrade it to typhoid. But that's the prevailing situation. Having said that, thank you once again, and I want to quickly answer the issue of Boko Haram by saying 4 things that are responsible for what you are seeing today with Boko Haram. I covered Boko Haram extensively as a journalist. I know what's going on. And the first thing is that there's no correct leadership in the military. The leadership in the military is weak, is compromised, is corrupt. I'm saying it, you're hearing it from me, and I've said it several times, I've documented it, and that's the problem. The second is that the military has no business in public civilian policing. A lot of our military personnel are involved in quelling civil rights strife in villages, towns, and cities, instead of leaving that completely to the police. So in about 30 states in Nigeria today, military men are drafted to be manning roadblocks, fighting traffic, most importantly, escorting VIPs all over the place. They have no business doing this, but that's what we're doing. So the thing is to separate the military so that they can defend the territorial integrity of Nigeria whenever Nigeria feels threatened, and the police to be strengthened enough to do policing work, which has not been going on for a long time. The police completely has retreated from the business of policing. The number 3 thing here is that our weapons that we have are not up to standard to fight the kind of modern insurgency that we are facing. You must have seen a video that has been going around in the last few days. They were made by soldiers. The soldiers are saying that their T-72 tanks were bought in 1983. Also, I have documented this. There's nowhere in the world where military travels around in open roof vans to fight insurgents. They use what they call armored personnel carriers. Even armored personnel carriers sometimes are not adequate. Every day they keep improving upon them. But you know what they do in Nigeria? They get the contracts, they give it to somebody somewhere in Abuja, they go and import vans, they take it to weather to be adding some accessories to it, including gun carriers, and then they start driving inside the desert. And when Boko Haram ambush and kill, we start. The last thing I'll say is that terrorism in Nigeria has become a business. Big, profitable business. I'm telling you. I don't want to mention, but we are coming from somewhere now that somebody was telling us. We sat with someone and said, this place was built by a senator. He made his money when Yar'Adua was in power. He made more money under Jonathan. And they made all this money from the fight in the Northeast against terrorism. It's big business. If the Nigerian army that defeated insurgents in Liberia ended the war in Sierra Leone cannot defeat Boko Haram, just know that there is a business going on under there. What we are coming to do is to end that business. We will end the business by being in charge and commanding the armed forces of Nigeria. Most importantly, we have to fire our commander-in-chief right now. The man doesn't know what he's doing, and we cannot be wasting our time promoting and voting for the same people who have failed us in the last 3 years. Yes, we voted out Jonathan because he was engaging in corruption, but we have also found corruption in the armed forces now in a way that is compromising the integrity of our people. Listen, when they started the war on terrorism, when the Boko Haram thing started, people, they almost neutralize it by making it a religious affair. Oh, it's Boko Haram, Christians fighting Muslims, or Muslims fighting Christians. And some Muslims also inadvertently became defensive of Boko Haram by saying, oh, you're attacking us because of our religion. Today, Boko Haram is no longer killing Christians. They are killing anybody they can find, particularly Muslims. They have bombed more mosques, now we know, than they have bombed churches. Because we said it from the beginning that this war is not about religion. It's about people who are fighting against society. And it is what society did years ago. The education we refused to give children when they needed it in Maiduguri is what is fighting back. The poverty that our politicians promoted is what is providing studied it, I haven't worked on it. I'll give you, and I'm not making mouths, as I said, I'm not bragging. Knowing what I know about the war against terrorism, I can tell you that we can take care of Boko Haram in a matter of months. And it's not going to involve dialogue. It involves governments being governments, the army becoming the army again, and not business people. Getting rid of generals who are businessmen. Generals who want to be businessmen should be allowed to do business. Soldiers are fighters, and they should be allowed to fight with all the equipment and the training and the protection they need. Soldiers are crying out to us. This is the first time in Nigeria's history that soldiers are begging civilians to come and help them. If this was in the 80s, we would have had a coup. Absolutely. Over this nonsense that's going on in the Northeast. The soldiers, it's only that coups are no longer acceptable from way of overthrow. I'm telling you seriously, what we have been toying with our soldiers in the last few years would have caused a coup in Nigeria if we were in the 80s. Absolutely. They wouldn't have taken this from us. But with the right kind of leadership in place that would bring about real leadership in the military, in the armed forces, professionalizing it, providing training, and providing protection and weaponry that is expected of modern warfare, guerrilla warfare, where we fight these guys to a standstill. And when we fight them to a standstill, they will be the ones calling for dialogue, not the army begging ragtag armies that they want dialogue. So that's my position on this. As you know, and I say finally, anytime I'm responding to issues that have to do with deep policies, I'm very careful not to reveal too much because APC people are watching us and they like to steal our ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. questions?
We can take one more because we still have to go.
Okay. Somebody wanted to ask.
Somebody's at the back, yes.
Randy Bamu. Wait. You want to ask a question?
Well, Mr. President and Vice President, welcome to Kano again. I've been a follower of Sowore. I'm an avid reader of Sahara Reporters. He changed the media landscape. For that, I have great respect for Mr. Sowore. Well, you already have a big profile as an activist and as a media man. And a few things I want clear from you is your thoughts about the governance in Nigeria, particularly issues of resource control. You are from the Niger Delta part of Ondo State where there is oil. I have read your history. You are also almost shoeless, but not as shoeless as Jonathan. You understand? So, from the north, there is this aversion to issues of resource control, and you are in the north. You have to be open to us.
Yes.
Do you also subscribe to the idea of resource control? Like Atiku is promising, like 90%, I think, of oil to the regions that produce it. In the north, we are like. And another thing is the issues of this prevailing insecurity. Northeast seems to be taking the attention, but there is much more problem now with clash between Havas and Hadis. You go to Zamfara, every day people are contributing money to save kids that have been kidnapped. Kidnapping is becoming a big business now. We never knew about kidnapping now, but you're lucky that you have a policeman protecting you. With Sowere's name tag, probably when you go outside, somebody can decide to take you and get like 2 million naira, 3 million naira from Sahara Reporters. And this thing is been going even unreported. So we want to see, how do you intend to, you said, yeah, military is not supposed to be in the mainstream of fighting this thing, but the police is so much corrupt. It's so much inefficient. You don't even rely on anything. The system.
The Academic Staff Union of University are on strike, I also want to hear from you how you hope to solve this problem of ASU, which has been on and on for in and out for many years. And you've had so many documentaries on Boko Haram, and I'm sure you also have the same on the education sector. So please, we'll want to hear what you have, the specific plans which you will tackle, because we have many of our younger ones presently at home. And you know, if we don't solve this problem, some of them still will be the ones that will be recruited through this Boko Haram and this kidnapping issue which we are talking about. So it's a really big menace. So how do you hope to tackle this issue of academic staff union, closing down the entire universities of the countries, and so on and so forth? Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the question about governance, I'll go straight into it. And resource control is a big masquerade in the room that you're talking about. And I want to answer by saying, you know, people who are saying or shouting about resource control have no idea what, in some ways, resources mean or resource mean. They don't understand something, and I come from that region, that even oil as a resource has a limitation of a timeline. That's, you know, the lifespan of oil is no more than another 10 years before it will become a useless resource. The reason is simple. Technology is driving how cars are made, aeroplanes are made. A lot of cars are no longer going to rely on petrol in the next few years. They're going to rely on solar energy. And one of our cardinal ways of generating energy in Nigeria is to come to the north and use solar energy to be a major source of generating electricity. So if solar energy becomes a major source of generating electricity, and most of the solar farms are based here in the north, so you are going to be the owners of the next oil. And as a result, you will be the ones actually shouting for resource control when it's time, because everybody will be buying electricity from the north or energy from the north because you are using renewables to generate energy. One of the things I want, by the time you get there, however, I want even the people who will come together in Niger Delta. Now listen, Nigeria as a country, we might have poor people, but don't forget that this year alone, a state called Kebbi generated, I think it's Kebbi, where they grow rice. They generated 150 billion naira from rice cultivation alone. The state, if they decide, don't even need to go to Abuja to go and ask for oil revenue. That means people are getting creative in the way they generate resource in this particular part of the country. But most importantly, let me also go philosophical. Let's assume that, you know, the Niger Delta becomes Christmas tree at night.
Sure.
They have so much wealth, but they are yet surrounded by poverty. You know, from Benin, Edo State to, you know, Kogi State. Do you think that the rest of the country will be looking at you if you are wealthy and you are just there? They just, look at Niger Delta area. They have money, but the rest of us, we don't have money. We just wake up and pray for them every morning. They will invade the place. America is an example. America has the best army, navy, air force in the world. But whenever poor people want to come to America, you heard about the latest caravan. Everybody start moving towards America. America cannot do anything about it. Even if they construct the wall that Donald Trump is planning to construct, people will burrow through the wall, under the wall. People will jump over the wall. They will create aircraft that can deliver people on the other side. You know, a one-time, you know, aircraft. Stupidity is the way I call it when people say they want to construct walls. Walls cannot stop poor people from going over to poverty. Why do you think young Nigerians are willing to go from here, Kano, here, to Agadez, from Agadez to Libya, and from Libya to Europe? And then they know that most likely they will die in the Mediterranean Sea, but yet they will make it. Because when people are poor, they will do everything to climb out of poverty. So people who are talking about resource should not forget that the biggest resource Nigeria has got are the Nigerian people. And that one you can't control. There's no resource control that can control the people, but you can channel the energy of our Nigerian people to make the whole of Nigeria wealthy first, to make this place become the food basket of the continent of Africa, and to affect the life of Africans. That is the president that I'm going to be. It's not the president that is fighting for one section of the country to be rich while fighting for the rest to be poor. No. And what is most important is for Nigeria to have leaders who can control and manage, not control, but manage its resources. When the resources are control again, the reason is that if I can travel from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri in 4 hours and a fast-moving train, Maiduguri to Lagos, who cares about resource control? I'm able to move, I'm able to conduct business, I'm able to be happy in Nigeria. Doctors are working, universities are not on strike, because we are managing our resources now, not controlling it. Because the people who are shouting for resource control the most, do you know them? The Jonathans of this world. What did they do with the resources that they had? They had oil selling at the point almost $120 per barrel. The resources, money came in. The Niger Delta today is poorer than when oil was selling because of the characters that were managing the resources that they were controlling. That is the fact that 13% of Nigerian revenue still goes to the Niger Delta region. So I'm not here to divide Nigeria, and I'm not here to conquer Nigerians. I'm here to manage the resources of Nigeria so that the people that we call Nigerians can become the biggest resource to themselves, and they can become happy as a result. And we will no longer have the North versus the South. Some people are actually calling for regional governments. But the truth is this, which region today can manage its resources? Even when you create the regional government, where are you going to find the people to manage the regions? Where are the Aminu Kanos again? Where are the Bafemi Awolowos again in Nigeria? Where are the Michael Okparas again? They don't have them anymore. So you create regions, the regions are still going to be managed by the thieves who are trained in Abuja, who will return to their various regions. That's the truth. Yesterday I got a boo-boo about a America, but he didn't have pockets to put it The strike by ASU is a question of investment in education. Yesterday, I went on AIT, if anybody watched me on AIT, and they were asking, what do you do to take out children who are out of school? Majority of them, by the way, are here in Kano and in North. And I said to them, we have to be specific. How much do we want to spend on every child that is out of school? And my proposal is we take 100,000 naira per child and put them back in school. That 100,000 will buy them uniform, 2 pairs each. This is a social experiment that I want to do, and I hope they'll let me do it. Food twice a day, they have a brunch as soon as they arrive school. Before they leave, they'll have lunch, right? Not the one they put inside nylon bag, real lunch, right? And it will let them see a doctor. We put a sick bay in every school, right? It will build toilets, it will hire them teachers. It's your 100,000, we hire you a teacher, give you food, and see what will happen to our children. Even the Amajiris, nobody will go to madrasa anymore. But here is what it will do. In the future, Nigeria will have to spend less on these children. Because when you don't send children to school, you have to feed them when they go to prison. Do you know how much we spend on any prisoner? Every prisoner, 14,000 naira per day. 40,000 naira times 30. How much? A prisoner. Why do you spend 100,000 naira a year to send a child to school? Is that not commonsensical? That is what we should do. And when you train a child and they have a chance to become doctors instead of becoming criminals. That is not to say there are doctors who cannot be criminals, because Saraki is a doctor. Just to warn you, doctors. Yes. But, the more money we spend to develop our children, the better the future of the country. You know, it's an investment you are making 10 years down the line. And you come to Kano and there will be too many doctors, there will be too many accountants, and there will be agricultural experts, there will be technologists. And you say, wow, Sowore was here 10 years ago, just 10 years ago. And look at what he has achieved. And this is not new. This is what Aminu Kano was about. This was what Rimi them did in this town before. When we were driving around Kano yesterday, it reminded me of Accra. There's some similarity between Kano and Accra, except for that the fact that Kano is broken, Accra is developing, one of the fastest developing West African cities, right? That is the only difference. The infrastructure is already there even in Kano to build new houses, to build new schools, to provide jobs. The industries are even still there. But go to the railway station in Kano. You guys pass the place every day. It's different from the propaganda you see in Abuja. They said they have revived the railway. But we passed the railway yesterday. We didn't see no railway coaches there. We just say, but there used to be a time that people wear suits and enter the railway from Lagos to Kano with pride, with their families. Where are we today? Whereas Morocco has just introduced the fastest moving train on the continent of Africa last week. We just introduced the worst moving train on the continent of Africa, 13 kilometers per hour. That is how our train moves in Lagos. I entered it, I did a video about it. Including security problems, health problems, we made the right investment. The university lecturers who are always going on strike are asking for us to invest just a fraction of our money in the education sector. And I'll say this final thing so that you can understand. In the between 2011 and 2014, Nigeria borrowed 5.3 trillion naira to 150 businessmen, private sector. Yes, that they didn't pay back. AMCON is trying to recover the money. 1.3 trillion naira. Yeah, is anybody in ASU here? Yeah. Yes. So how much are you asking for nationwide? I think it's less than 2 trillion. So we can give 5.3 trillion naira to 150 businessmen who are flying around with private jets, building hotels and enjoying, but we are not willing to give 2 trillion naira to all our universities. All of them, not one university. All of our universities combined together. In fact, when I mentioned yesterday I want to spend 100,000 naira on every child, one PDP chieftain was mocking me on Twitter. Sowore can you imagine? He did the calculation and he said, how can we get 1.3 trillion naira to give to children who want to go to school? But the question is, that is less than what Atiku has stolen from Nigeria when he was vice president. That's less than how much he stole. The man made enough money, he controls all the water out of the Northeast, Faro water. He has a university that nobody in the Northeast can attend. He built it. And you are there mocking somebody who says we want to give money to children to go to school. How can I be a crime? I'm a beneficiary of free education under Awolowo. Otherwise, I will be a palm wine tapper today. Yes. I would have been like one of those children standing on the street who cannot find food to eat. We need, for the sake of posterity, we need to invest in the future of these children so that the way our fathers disappointed us, we will not disappoint them. That's my final word. Go back,
Thank you very much, Mr. President in the making. I want to ask Dr. Mohammed Detti, the consultant anesthesiologist in this hospital, to give us a closing remark so that we can allow you to go, because you have a tight schedule.
or real contestants to the highest office of the land. And we are convinced, I know you're just giving us the tip of the iceberg of what you have for Nigeria to revamp, to get Nigeria moving again, to enjoy the years when hope, well, we know we have one of us here and we can always channel our ideas here. And we'll keep reading stories from Sahara reporters and so that we can channel our ideas. And like one of the past chairmen said, that we are willing to be a think tank to make Nigeria moving again. Thank you very much.
We will have a group photo.
Oh, absolutely.
Inside here or outside?
Outside is better. Outside is because of the lights. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, that's all.
So where we go to the group picture? I think somewhere.
Where do you think is best? This is good. When it comes to this, we take advice from the cameraman. We came with our own consultants. Media consultants.
Sir, can you go? Can you go here? Yes, I can see you.
I wish we found people place that has like a step.
That one would be. Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
The other side, yes. It's quite historic.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much.
No, yeah, you don't have
Thank you.
No. You don't have